We're also streaming from that SuperTalk Mississippi app and your local SuperTalk Mississippi radio station. You can watch us too. We are on your computer, your mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. And today we get to hear about Pine Grove Behavioral Health and Addiction Services. They are presenting a free community-wide event at the University of Southern Miss this week or next week. And Colleen is joining us to tell us a little bit more. So, hey, Colleen.
Hey, Rebecca. Appreciate you having me on this afternoon.
Well, I appreciate you guys choosing Southern Miss to host your event to the top, but also having this. I think this is a good conversation to have and to continue to have. So talk about the event. What will the primary topic be?
Well, this event is going to be on Monday, September 22nd at 6 p.m. It's completely free. We would like everyone who is able to come hear this message to be able to do that. The presentation is going to be in the third floor ballrooms of the Thad Cochran Center on the campus of Southern Miss in Hattiesburg, and it's about internet harms targeting teens and young adults, protecting families from cyber criminals. And really, we would like parents, teenagers, college students, educators, healthcare, and law enforcement professionals to attend and really hear from our guest speakers. And our guest speakers are going to be giving very moving and relevant information for the audience. So our two guest speakers are Brian Montgomery from Starkville, Mississippi, and he's going to talk about the impact that online criminals had on his family and the work he is doing now to keep parents informed, to keep victims from losing hope, and to help bring those responsible to justice. And then, of course, Lori Hill, who is Mississippi's statewide human trafficking coordinator, is going to be presenting as well, and she's going to be providing some really important safety information for those in our audience, as well as Brian Montgomery. I think all families worry about, particularly when their children get to the age where they start asking about having a social media account. And with technology and the way that is always evolving, it's very important for families, parents, and young people to know about online dangers and these criminals that specifically target adolescents, teenagers, and young adults, and for parents to know about that so they can work together to help set some healthy parameters around social media use to really keep their children and the young people in their lives safe, as well as to learn more information for themselves, to help make our community safer as a whole.
Colleen, as a mom to a now 13-year-old, I couldn't agree more, and it feels like you're drinking out of a water hose when you're trying to keep up with how to keep them safe. And I would say our family probably has a little bit more stricter guidelines than some for her age. We haven't ventured to a phone yet, but I know it's coming around the corner. Why shouldn't, this is a tough topic, Colleen. I'm sure most parents probably don't want to take time out of their day to come sit and listen to these terrible stories, but why shouldn't we put our head in the sand? Why should we be showing up and keep asking questions, even if it feels like it's overwhelming to stay on top of it, to at least grasp it to some extent, to stay on top for our kids?
Well, that's a really good point. You're right. We are asking folks to come out on a Monday evening at 6 o'clock to listen to an hour-long presentation, and that's an excellent point. Folks are probably wondering, well, why would I do that? Why would I commit that time? And that's really because I think we all, particularly parents and those with young people in our lives, all have a vested interest in wanting to keep them safe, and I think we all have to acknowledge that no one person knows all of the information about that, and there's really no better way to really get this information than hear directly from these very, very dedicated people that are working hard to bring these issues to light and to really inform parents about the dangers that exist online. And then I think another big part of it is we're Pine Grove Behavioral Health and Addiction Services, and it's important to note that this is not only a public safety issue, but it's also a public and mental health care issue. And we really want young people and parents to know that even if they do maybe unknowingly, or perhaps something does happen that's very upsetting online, or many young people also deal with things like cyberbullying and other harms that exist online, that there are resources available, that there are people that they can reach out to and talk to about that, particularly their parents. They can always talk to their parents, but then also for their parents to know that mental health care support is available for their children and for themselves when it comes to online harms, and really being able to offer support through that, and to realize that this can be overcome, that support is available, and that hope is available. And for young people to know that they're deeply cared about, and that folks should reach out for help if they're being impacted by internet harm. So it's a public safety message. It is also a mental health care message for young people and parents to know about the resources that are available to help as well regarding some of these harms that can happen online.
I think you bring up a good point, Colleen, about if kids go through, either a bullying phase or just something happens unfortunate online. It may be in like an acute issue or an acute circumstance, but that can have some lasting impact. And if you recognize maybe your kid's not dealing with that well, or you guys at home aren't, there's no shame. It should be encouraged to reach out and have someone give them better tools to sort of work through the anxiety that may come up around that. Even if it's over, there can be lingering effects to that. You don't have to be in a, super crisis to help, to reach out and get a little bit of help. It can be, even if you're doggy paddling, right? You don't have to be drowning, Colleen. You could be doggy paddling and get some
exactly
tools
right.
To help you as well.
That is exactly right. And of course, there are so many people who care. That can be parents, it can be educators, and then of course, if additional support is needed, that can be talking to a therapist, for example, on an outpatient basis. So there's many resources, levels of care that we provide at Pine Grove for children, adolescents, and adults, and we hope that our community knows that they can always reach out to us for help. But we really want to have this presentation because we are aware of the impact that social media has and online media has, in particular on young people and on their social network and on their self-esteem, for example. And so it's important to recognize that. And it's also important for families to have some information about how to help their children use the internet in a way that is also safe, and to be aware of those dangers, because those are very real. Sometimes it's very hard to be aware of everything that is potentially dangerous on the internet. I think all of us know that there is information that is not true on the internet, and there's also dangerous information, but folks may not be aware that there are also criminals that are specifically targeting young people who may not have the awareness that older adults may have regarding social media. And I think that this can cause many different forms. So, for example, some of those harms, of course, could include extortion, where a young person is tricked into sharing particular information online, perhaps by somebody who's posing as a peer, and then that person is demanding money or additional information. And then I also think that a lot of people are aware of online gaming, and Lori Hill is going to talk a little bit about, online gaming and some of the dangers that exist with that, with folks that are on online games, but may offer to shift the conversation to another platform where they may, be dangerously impacting that young person. And then, of course, just being aware of social media impersonations and fake profiles, and how those profiles can be created based on information that young people have about themselves online. All of us have information about ourselves online, but certainly if if you're a young person, you may have additional. You may have particular information online where it would be relatively easy for somebody to create a fake profile and know a little bit about an individual's friends, likes, personal interests, things of that nature. So it's important for parents to be aware of all of these things.
Such good information, Colleen. We hope people show up next Monday at 6 p.m. for this great presentation. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rebecca. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.